Hello everyone, you are watching the Lowellian. My name is Lina Alhasan and I will be your community host for today. Today we will be talking to Mr. Liam Skinner about his journey in education, his role as a superintendent, and his vision for the future of our school district. Thank you for taking the time to chat with us today.
It's a pleasure, Lina. I'm delighted to be here and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Thank you. Could you please tell us about yourself first, your journey? How did you choose the path into education?
My path into education is not very inspiring. I've met many educators who knew from a very young age that they wanted to be teachers, they wanted to be in education. I didn't. And I first became interested in education when I was in college. And we had the summers free, and I did some travel. And I loved that idea of traveling in the summer. And so I wanted a job where I could still travel in the summer. And teaching took my interest for that reason. Not the best of reasons, but I really, really fell in love with teaching and education. And I'm thrilled that I've had a career in that field.
We are lucky to have such a leader like you in this field. To give a better sense of your position, could you please tell us the role of a superintendent?
In the broadest terms, first off, I think about guidance to the school committee. So the school committee are elected representatives, and it's my role to liaise between the practitioners in the system, the various educators, and the school committee. And so guidance to the school committee about what we need, and also listening to the school committee and their judgments about what the district needs, and then implementing what we agree on, implementing what the school committee budgets for and sees the need for. That's my role to do that. So I've mentioned the school committee, but also other constituents would be central office staff, organizing and running the central office administration, and then also with the schools, interacting with and supporting school principals and everyone else, teachers and everyone else in the system.
Okay. We would love to know more about your journey. Can you please tell me, how did you end up arriving to this position? You were the principal at the daily school, but now you are the superintendent of Lowell Public School. How did you arrive here?
It's a good question. I was the principal of the daily school for 22 years, and I dearly loved that position in that school. I was very, very fortunate. I have been right through my career to work with really wonderful people, and they inspired me to continue to work and lead and work hard for the daily school and now also for the district. I wasn't really of a mind to leave the daily school, but I was asked and encouraged to apply for the position of Chief Schools Officer in the district. And that position did appeal to me. No other position did, but that position was supporting and supervising principals in schools. And so for that reason, I took a risk. I made a jump to central office to become the Chief Schools Officer. Again, it wasn't that I initially was interested, but I was encouraged to do so. And after a couple of years in the Chief Schools Officer position, the superintendent at the time announced his resignation. And so the superintendency was open. I've enjoyed being a school principal for so long. I have felt more affinity with that leadership position than with an assistant position. And so I took a stab at, I have also some vision for the system and vision for what I think the district needs. And I sought the position so that I could work to implement that vision.
Okay, that's interesting to know. Thank you. What is the scope of your responsibilities? Do you work with all the schools in Lowell, or do you focus on specific levels in the district? And could you give us an idea of what that involves?
On some level, you can think about the superintendent's role as, say, overseeing the assistant superintendents, and then they oversee some work in schools. But that's part of it. We have to have an efficient central office administration, and I can say more about that. But I also believe it's really important for me to spend time in the schools and to understand and know what's going on in the schools, what their needs are, what supports they need. So each week, not necessarily every day, but each week I book some times in schools, and usually early in the morning. And I'll visit 2 schools maybe on a particular morning and 2 more on another morning and so on. Yeah. And in the afternoon, my time is at central office working with curriculum or finance or HR and so forth.
Thank you so much. Can you please tell me about your vision for Lowell Public School?
I'm delighted with the question because it gives me an opportunity to talk about that a little bit. So last year was my first year as superintendent, and a lot of my time was spent on first off, organizing a central office to help arrange for central office to be really efficient and to work in service of schools. We don't need central office for its own sake. We only need central office if it's of service and supportive to schools. So we worked with that, and we some of the last year's vision included reorganizing and restructuring central office. So we introduced student support services department. We have a new finance team and so forth. And that was the beginning. Now I feel this is my second year, and now we can talk a bit more about the vision for the future. My vision is that we can develop in Lowell Public Schools a culture of continuous improvement. And what I mean by that is that oftentimes in the past, we put a lot of emphasis on a particular program, a particular way of doing something, particular staff to do certain roles. And they may have benefits for a period of time, but what is really lasting and sustained and continuous growth requires a culture in Lowell Public Schools, a culture of continuous improvement. And so that culture is based on some dispositions. One we call intentional collaboration. We also, a second one that we emphasize is a growth mindset, meaning we believe the youngsters that we work with can learn at very high levels.
Yeah, can you tell me more about this collaboration?
Sure, okay. So collaboration can be a misused term. Collaboration can mean that we get together with some friends and we talk about an issue. And that could be very interesting, and it could be very supportive. Intentional collaboration that we look for in Lowell Public Schools is a bit more purposeful. It's more planned. And so when we have teams of teachers work together, for example, they will work on, let's say, reviewing the requirements for a unit of study. Think about a unit in history class, and the teachers will work together to be very clear about what the outcomes should be that all students should know at the end of that unit. Yeah. So that kind of collaboration means that all of the teachers are clear, they work on some lessons together, and they've developed some assessments that all the students can take so we can know if they've learned. And I can tell more, because, but this is in the schools. It also is important that collaboration exists in various other places, at central office and with the school committee and so forth.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about the rewarding side of your work. What do you enjoy most about your recent work?
I've been very surprised as superintendent to enjoy the work as much as I do. I have no difficulty to get out of bed in the morning. I have no difficulty to work right through the day and oftentimes through the evening time. I enjoy my work that much. I feel very engaged. And I think it's because I enjoy doing things that are meaningful and hopefully, you know, helping people and supporting people to do that meaningful work. So I find rewards in every aspect of my job. When we work as a team at central office and we design a program that's more efficient than what went before, that's very satisfying. But particularly when I'm in a school and I see in a classroom teachers doing really skillful work and modeling and developing wonderful young learners who are engaged, who enjoy their learning, and who believe in their own abilities with those, our students. That's such a joy. That's more than rewarding, that's a joy. So that's the best part of the work is with our students and seeing their growth.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, in your role, I'm sure you face a lot of challenges. So what is one of the difficulties you are facing?
There are many challenges. The biggest challenge, I think, is when you are, you have a plan, you have a vision, you have a great idea for how things will work, and then you encounter people who think differently. Of course, that's frustration and challenging, but you have to listen to the other folks as well, right? And so teachers have some different ideas sometimes. Some of the people I work with at central office have different ideas, and the school committee. We all can have different ideas about how things will work. That is also very rewarding when we pull it together. But in the work, as we try to make things be clearer about what we're committed to, sometimes it's frustrating and it's challenging because we don't all agree. Ultimately, I really, really believe in feedback to me and to each other. Once this week, I complimented somebody at central office who had corrected me and given me a different perspective. So when I say that it's challenging, it doesn't mean because I have the right ideas. You have to listen and compromise and come to a collaborative decision.
Mrs. Skinner, as a superintendent, you work very closely with families and students. Let's start with the families. What do you want the families to know?
I want our families to know a number of things, I suppose. I'd like our families to know that we believe that they are first and most important. We want to know their child because we want to educate them well, but the families know the child much more than we do and are really committed to the growth of their child. So we want to work closely with them.
Yes.
And we want them to help us understand their child and help us to understand what their child needs in school. We'd like the families to know that we want to be available to them, and when they have ideas or criticisms, or when they want something for their child, that we want to be available to them, and we want them to come and meet with us at schools. We also want at central office, we have a family resource center that is available to families who can walk in right on Merrimack Street, walk in the door and get help and be referred to the kind of help that they may need.
Yeah, are you satisfied with the families' interaction with the schools?
Yes, I am, but if the families are not interacting with the schools in some way that can be improved, I think that's on us, the school department, and we, superintendent and school leaders and so forth. We have to make the environment welcoming for them. We have to tell the parents, we have an environment where we would like you to enter and to see and interact with us. We can translate for you. We will try to understand your culture, and we will try to listen to you so that we can support your child better. When parents and families feel welcome, when we have an open house or an event at the school, and let's say there are not many families, or there are a lot of families from one community and not so many from another, then we have to think, we didn't do that so well, how can we improve? We have to make our schools welcoming for the families of the students we have. And that's one of the aims, and that's one of the things I'd like our families to know.
Yeah, and how do you collect the data to know their satisfaction?
Well, great question. There's lots of ways to know about satisfaction, and one is simply to talk to people and to listen to them. If you're a parent and we have a conversation, sometimes we don't have to be explicit. I can tell that you are very upset or that you're quite satisfied. But listening and being aware, right? But you can also be explicit, and you can say, now that we resolved that problem for your child, is that satisfactory for you? Or let me know next week if things are working out the way we planned. But the other way, and this is something I believe in all across our district and all across the organizations, is surveying, which can be a pain sometimes, yes, but anonymous surveys of staff and of parents. So no one feels worried about the responses they put. And in those circumstances, we get very candid feedback, and we get to know if parents are happy or not, and which ones are happy or not. And also, we get some great ideas. Parents can help us to figure out what we need to do in our schools.
Yes, and as a parent, I agree. I receive a lot of surveys, yes, from the schools,
Okay.
from the middle and the high schools.
Great,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, what about an educational leader? What do you want to say to the students now?
To the students?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness, a lot. But let's see. The first message for students is that your education is so important. Everything about the remainder of your life will be implicated by the education you receive. I know this from past experience. I grew up in a humble situation in rural Ireland. My parents had not gone to high school. They did not finish high school. They didn't even go to high school. But they believed that if they helped me to get an education, I could have a good future. And it worked for me, and it will work for all of the youngsters we work with in Lowell. The students, I want them to know, your education is really important. We are committed, students, to supporting you and to helping you get that education. And we've learned a lot about our craft. We now know that even students that are very far behind, who maybe don't read well compared to students at their grade level, they can get caught up. And we know how to do that. So that's the next message for students. We want you to know that you can get caught up. We will be there for you, and we will give you extra help and extra support when you need it.
Thank you so much for the details. Now, in the city, you are aware of the ongoing construction at Lowell High.
Yes.
Can you please tell us about the progress and what's going on there?
The Lowell High School construction is working out much better than I anticipated, simply because I'm not a construction guy. And I've never encountered the idea that you would build a whole new high school on the same site as the current high school and run school while it's happening.
Yeah.
It seemed crazy.
Exactly.
It's worked out beautifully so far. There are 4 phases of the project. 2 phases are completely finished and very satisfactory. As a matter of fact, we had a tour last night for various members of the community to come and walk through the areas of the high school that are already completed. It includes a brand new gymnasium and a brand new area that will be the new freshman academy, a 5-story building where roughly speaking, where the old gym and old swimming pool used to be. These are really state-of-the-art facilities. It's really great to see and to be there and to see how students appreciate and interact with that space.
Yes.
We're in phase 3 of 4 phases
now. We are in phase 3.
Yes.
Okay.
So for those who know the 1922 building, some people refer to it as the yellow building. It's yellow brick building.
Yes.
About 2/3 of that is under renovation and construction right now. So one section of it, I think it's the north side, has been gutted. The auditorium is gone.
I know.
The classrooms, all of these, it's gone, and it's empty, and it's being replaced and repaired and put back in really state-of-the-art fashion. So it's very exciting. During that time, this is now more than 2 years, the construction has taken place in areas where the students are not. And they're taking place in areas that are sealed away from students, so no dust and so forth. Noisy work to the high school happens in the evening or on breaks when the students are not there. Occasionally, during the school time, it does get noisy. And the head of school has assured me many times he will call our construction company representative, and immediately the noise will stop.
Yeah.
So we've had a very satisfactory relationship.
Okay, can you give us an estimate when the work is going to be done completely from phase 4 and everything will come back to normal?
Yes, I can. All of the work has been slated to finish by the summer of 2026.
He said, okay.
Right, I'm saying. We have encountered one area that will take probably more time than that, and that is the auditorium. Again, I'm not a construction guy, but I've learned that auditoriums are the most difficult part of any school construction project. And lo and behold, our auditorium has posed problems for the construction company. So we anticipate everything will be finished except the auditorium by August 2026. And now the auditorium should be finished by the Christmas time, by the holiday break of 2026.
2026, Christmas.
Yeah.
Remember this date. So looking ahead, are there any major or standout projects you are looking forward to in Lowell Public Schools?
Yes, many actually. I have been very fortunate to have a very supportive relationship with the city administration. The city manager has been nothing but supportive. The city's finance department, including the CFO, the city solicitor's office, and so on. And so there are many projects I envision with that team. We need more space for certain programs in our schools. The city has already collaborated with us to purchase the old John Dark School in the Pawtuckaville section of Lowell, and they're now helping us to renovate that property. Yes, so that it'll be ready also in 2 years. So we're also going to need to study some more what are the possibilities for different buildings that we might be able to use, and different spaces can be used in different ways. That's an exciting project that's going to go on into the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much for keeping us updated with the news and the latest. So as we wrap up, can you please tell us about the future? How would you see the Lowell Public School system grow, please?
It will be along the lines of something I talked about before, that we will have grown into and will have developed the practices and the dispositions of what we call a culture of continuous improvement. And that might sound like a nice phrase, but a culture of continuous improvement means that we have in place a system where everyone in that system knows it's our responsibility and our everyday mission to improve. And then we use data in various respects, from the central office administration to every individual classroom. We use data to decide if we're making progress or not and what adjustments we need to make. We have collaborative structures. So we want people to work together and to collaborate. I mentioned earlier a group of social studies teachers, a group of math teachers, and so on. If we want them to collaborate, and we can describe very clearly what it should look like, we also have to provide them time and structures so they can have those meetings. We have a sense of projects like learning how to reteach. No matter how wonderfully we do in the classroom, some students don't learn the first time. And so we need to develop ways to reteach students who didn't learn the first time. These are the markers, the signs of a culture of continuous improvement. So I'm very much looking forward to working on these characteristics so that we all know them and we all are invested in them for the benefit of our students.
Yes, and also I look forward to see all the growth under your leadership.
Thank you, Lina.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. I appreciate it.
Been my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you all.
My name is Lina Alhasan, and we have been speaking to Liam Skinner, the Superintendent of Lowell Public School. Thank you so much for watching.